I think my father is just one of those people. He's again very, very sure of who he is. If I feel like I've had 5% of his confidence, I could rule the world. Everything that happens online is not real. A lot of what you're seeing is very carefully curated. A lot of what you're seeing is, heavily airbrushed. I decided to talk about my mental health one day, and everything, including this conversation, has just kind of come from that one spur of the moment decision that I made. But I have to say, it's the best decision that I made. The thing to note, though, about something like depression or something like even anxiety and anything that you're struggling with mentally, it's very hard, even if you have a wonderful support system.
Hi, Shine. Welcome to the Quint, and thank you so much for making the time to talk.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Shine, we're sitting here talking about an extremely important endeavor that MTV question mark is trying to do, is to start a conversation that your success is not equivalent to the marks you get back in school and in college, right? How important do you think this conversation is one?
I think it's a really important conversation because we've all been to school, we've all been in school at one point or the other. In our country, especially, we value education very, very highly. The pursuit of academic success and excellence puts a lot of pressure on young people, on teenagers, on children. And I mean, I remember my time in school as well, as not being without its pressures, it came with pressures. Everyone, whether you're a good student or an average student or a poor student, like I was, we all have that pressure. So I think it's just a very important conversation for us to have.
So, how did you as a child kind of navigate through this pressure? Or could you also navigate through this pressure? Or was it something you had to deal with and kind of overcome at a much later stage in life and realize that, oh, well, there was just too much pressure for nothing?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think that what you don't realize when you're in school and when you're in college is that it's a part of your life. It's not the entirety of it. It's one facet of it. Absolutely. When you're a child, when you're a young person, because there's so much life experience ahead of you, you can't see into the future. You don't know what your future is going to look like. So you think that this is your whole world. It becomes your entire world. And the kind of pressure that it puts on you, because then obviously when something is your entire world and you feel like you're not succeeding at it or you're not doing as well as you want to do at it, it will of course be shattering. For me, it was stressful. There was pressure. In hindsight, I don't think it was pressure that I needed to put on myself. In hindsight, I also realized how much it has continued to affect me till today, because these certain things stay with you. They become a part of the way that you approach your life. And so I think, like for everybody else, there was definitely pressure for me.
I also think, Shine, you are someone who is an advocate for mental health. You do speak about it. When was the time that you decided that you wanted to speak about this and be somebody who could also support others, on their journey to recovery?
Honestly, I didn't make a decision. I didn't decide to do it. It just kind of happened. I kind of fell into it. It was just for me, it was a spur of the moment sort of decision. I decided to talk about my mental health one day, and everything, including this conversation, has just kind of come from that one spur of the moment decision that I made. But I have to say, it's the best decision that I made because it has led me to a lot of wonderful conversations with a lot of wonderful people. It has led me to understanding that we're all going through something without exception. Everybody is experiencing something and going through something. I value the fact that I'm able to be open about this and have this conversation.
Conversation and communication is an extremely important part of healing, right? So during your process during that time when you were dealing with certain things, who were the kind of people, who was that village that really, propped you up?
I mean, like my family, my friends, everybody in my life. The thing to note, though, about something like depression or something like even anxiety and anything that you're struggling with mentally, it's very hard. Even if you have a wonderful support system, sometimes it's very hard to actually tap into it. It's hard to tap into your resources even if you have them. So it can be a very isolating journey, even if you have all of those things in place. But having said that, I was very lucky to have those resources in place.
Shine, growing up, of course, you come from a family where your father is a renowned director, your mom, your sisters. There's so much, especially in today's world, where everything is out there in the open. So much is written, not necessarily the good. There's also bad, right? How do you, as a person, navigate through that? And as a child, was it more difficult for you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think, I never really paid attention to what is being said outside. I know who I am. I know who my family is. I know, I think there's a lot of clarity on that. And so the outside noise doesn't really penetrate. Weirdly, I mean, when negative things are said, I find it quite amusing. So I guess I've just never really had that be an issue for me. It's never really been a problem. I think, I guess, just having a certainty of where you are and who you are really helps with that.
Social media is a huge part of all our lives today, right? And there's this constant validation or assurance that a lot of people look for on social media. What are the three things you could probably tell people, since you do talk about mental health, that they should start doing to kind of stop looking for that validation online?
I mean, I think it's important to realize that everything that happens online is not real. That's not necessarily real life. It's not the real world. A lot of what you're seeing is very carefully curated. A lot of what you're seeing is, heavily airbrushed. A lot of what you're seeing is just simply not real. So, if you're trying to live up to that, you are going to fall short because it's an impossible task. I think just focus on what's happening in your real day-to-day life. Be grounded in that. I think we forget that the real world is what's happening out of our phones and outside of our phones, not inside of our phones. The thing that my father always told me is just find one person that you can be completely honest with and be honest with them about everything, and just and do that, because it has immense value to have someone you can communicate with like that. So I think that's just a helpful thing to do no matter what.
I have had the opportunity to meet your father a million times, of course. And, he is someone who's so, I think he really owns who he is. And I think maybe that's why he is who he is, right? Like, he's so comfortable in who he is. He doesn't really care about what to wear and how to look. He's like, this is me. And I guess that is something that you maybe get from him now.
I mean, I hope so. I don't think I think I'm compared to him, I'm a very insecure person. But no, definitely, I think my father is just one of those people. He's, again, very very sure of who he is. He knows who he is, and I really strive. If I feel like I've had 5% of his confidence, I could rule the world, which I don't. But yeah, definitely.
If I could take you back to a younger Shaheen, what are some things you'd like to tell her?
I think she's being told a lot of things at 15. A lot of people are saying a lot of things. I would tell her nothing. I would just give her a hug and say, you're doing well.
Thank you so much for talking to me,
you.
Shaheen, and
Thank you
good
so
luck for
much.
everything you're setting out to do.
you.
Thank you.